So there are two types of anti-feminism, and they're actually very different from each other. I describe myself as an anti-feminist men's rights activist, and I'm going to explain what that means, because there's the anti-feminism of the so-called manosphere, and then there's the anti-feminism of a men's rights activist. The anti-feminism of the manosphere is against the advancement of women. They support traditional roles, and they don't like the fact that women are now getting an education. They think that women should stay at home. They think that women should live under their husbands, etc. So, red pillars and tradcons and the manosphere are against feminism because they think women should stay in their traditional place. Which that traditional place isn't even true, it's not even real. Women have always worked since ancient times, but that's another video. The anti-feminism of men's rights activism, my anti-feminism, is really anti-misandry. And we are against feminists who campaign for laws that hurt men and boys, that discriminate against men and boys. So the way feminists try and lobby for laws, domestic violence laws, for example, that leave out male victims of domestic violence, or the way that feminists lobby for laws that treat women who commit violent crimes against men more leniently and give them lesser jail times so they can get out and go back and victimize men all over again. Or the way that feminists push for laws or push against laws that would help boys in education who are falling behind. So let's take education as a perfect example to explain the difference between men's rights activism and the manosphere. So the manosphere looks at women going to university more than men, and they see this as a degradation of social values. They think that everything is reversed of what it should be. It should be men going to university and women staying behind to cook and clean and look after the kids. Men's rights activists, on the other hand, we're not against the fact that women are going to university and getting promotions. We're against the fact that men aren't. We're not against the fact that women are getting ahead. We're against the fact that men are falling behind. So, in that sense, between the manosphere, feminists, and MRAs, men's rights activists, I would argue that men's rights activists are the most progressive and the most egalitarian. Whenever I criticize feminism on this channel, whenever I criticize feminists on this channel, I'm not criticizing women's rights. I'm not criticizing the idea that women are equal. I'm criticizing specific actions and words from specific feminists. Now, I have started to generalize because of experiences that I've had. Overwhelmingly, I'm noticing that a certain kind of feminist online, they all think the same way, they all get their lines, their dialogue, so to speak, from the same place, and they all more or less repeat the party line. So, for example, the way I criticize feminists is I've noticed in the last couple years, especially on Reddit, feminists have developed this weird hostility towards intactivism. And they spread lies about circumcision, and they spread lies about the male anatomy. And I'm against that, obviously. That's the kind of feminism I'm against. That's what I mean when I say that I'm an anti feminist. Whereas red pillars would actually agree with feminists on a lot of issues. They would actually agree that male victims of domestic violence should be ignored and that it's their fault and that they're pathetic and that the law shouldn't look at them because they're a failure as a man. The feminists don't exactly phrase it that way, but their views end up being practically aligned. If they aren't the same definition, they're parallel. So when you hear men's rights activists like me say I'm anti-feminist, I don't mean that I'm against women's rights. I don't mean I'm against women's equality, and I don't mean that I'm against women's advancement. What I'm against is misandry. So, I'm Blue 22. Thanks for watching.